Hello. Good evening. Hello, everyone. We are 2 minutes late.
2 minutes late.
Oh no. If we were in a dressage show, we would be eliminated.
I was running behind.
Tonight, we are talking about the training scale because I'm doing a training scale webinar on Sunday at 12 noon Pacific time. I hope you all are going to be there or be square. It's going to be epic.
Training scale, very important.
Yeah. It's funny, a few months ago, we get the USCF connection in the mail, which is awesome. And I was reading about the Trainers Conference, which this year Sabine Chukari and Monica Theodorescu did together.
Oh, yeah.
And guess what the whole FEI Trainers Conference was about? The training scale.
Yes.
Because the training scale is like the foundation of everything. The training scale is like how you plan every single ride with every single horse and how you improve your scores and how you develop connection and partnership. And it's like the secret to life.
And then it also gives you a checklist of check the box and you can move to this thing. And so if you're having an issue, you go, okay, what am I missing? Do I have this? Do I have that? Okay, I don't have that. So I'm going to go do these exercises now.
Yeah. So, especially if you're riding alone, if you've never trained a horse before, if you want to move your horse correct, like if you want to train your horse correctly, it's so important that you have it in the back of your mind. So let's see if anyone here can name the levels of the training scale. We were reviewing them before this call.
Yes.
We'll see. Whoever puts their name first in the chat will give you a call out, but I'm sure some of you can name it. The other thing is earlier this week, we interviewed Mike Osinski for Strides. He's an Olympic judge, and Nicole interviewed him, and we talked all about the training scale because, as you know, when you're judging, you're always thinking about the training scale.
Yes, all of us that are judging.
Right, but you've done the L program, so you know how to judge.
I did an L and an R.
So how, when you're like looking at a rider or like say you're in a lesson or you're judging or whatever, how do you think about the training scale? How do you look?
Just like that. So if I'm seeing an issue, I'm like, what's missing? Right? And you just go from the bottom up. Although we're not going to do it. I'm just waiting for people to.
No one's typed in the levels of the training scale from bottom to top.
There it is. And it is.
All right, there you go. So rhythm,
Barbara
suppleness, connection, impulsion, straightness, collection.
Now, they toned it down to 6 words because it was like sentences when I started to ride.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and if you pull out the USDF teaching manual, that old one, it's different.
But they have like after each word, there's like
in the parentheses,
it's like rhythm with energy and tempo, suppleness with like mental and physical relaxation. Like that is it is like this framework, like quote unquote easy framework and these 6 words, but there's so much more into it. Like there's so much intricacy to understanding how the levels all connect to one another. And then as you improve and you develop your horse up the levels, you're always coming back to it. And I feel like every horse that you train is a little bit different. And so you follow the training scale, but you have to like focus on different levels with different horses. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. But I was just thinking, it used to say rhythm and relaxation, and then they had a discussion that said, well, rhythm incorporates relaxation. So they dropped the relaxation off of that. And it's just the rhythm.
Yeah. Anyways, I hope you all can come on Sunday because I put a lot of time and effort into the slides and putting together a really great presentation where we're going to do some real life examples. We're going to be looking at a few videos and going through that, like understanding, okay, like, all right, I'm teaching this person, where do we start? How do we apply the training scale so that it becomes something real and not just these like big words that maybe you don't know, like maybe you don't even know what impulsion is or what collection really is because they're complicated words in dressage.
And they have specific meanings in dressage too.
Do you want to see one of my slides for the webinar?
Okay.
I'll show it to you, but
so while you're digging
you all can't see it.
We'll say hello to Sal and we got people in China from Australia.
Very cool. Okay, look at this slide.
Oh, so I was looking at that. How do the lessons work?
Yes. I'm going to show you all this slide on Sunday. But if you think about it, Like, how do lessons work? I have a really cool slide on it.
So how do lessons work? Okay, like the mechanics of it.
Right. So you're
I'm
standing
sitting
there,
there.
and you're
I
looking.
have an image in my head of what it should look like. So then I look at the horse, and I look at the rider, and where they're away from the ideal, I have to come up with a
way to
picture.
communicate that.
Right. I have to come up with, words that make a picture so that the rider can then make some changes. That's what you're getting at?
Yeah. And then, like, the rider has to understand what you mean. Like, the picture that you see, right? You have to, like, process that into words, tell that to the rider.
Those words have to make a picture in their mind, and then they have to be able to execute it.
Right. Then they have to be able to cue their horse to make that change in their horse.
Right. That's what Christina talks about. It's the same words out of a different mouth, because different images work better for some people. I mean, there's like standard ones that work for 90% of the people. And then when those people don't get it, then as a teacher, you're like, okay, we're going off the reservation. We're going to try something new with you.
But my point is that teaching is really hard. Of course, like, lessons are invaluable. I'm not saying that. But when you think about the process and how much time that takes, there's no way that your trainer can tell you everything or tell you it fast enough for you to get it done. So really, if you're on your horse, you are the trainer. And that is why you have to know the training scale. Like, you have to have some idea in your head of what you should be thinking about or what you should be working about. Because if you're waiting for your trainer to tell you every single little thing,
you couldn't process. I can't tell them fast enough everything that needs to happen. And even if I could articulate that, there's no way that the rider could hear that and implement all those things at the speed at which those things are happening.
Yes. So, anyways, come to the training scale webinar. We have some questions from our Stride students, because this week's video, I think this week's YouTube video was once again starring Herman on Poppy, and we were focusing on rhythm, suppleness, and connection, I think. So Loretta's asking, I'd like to understand why my horse is unable to perform lateral movement. I'm certain I asked correctly. Is the non-responsiveness because she can't physically do it? She's pained, she's tired. She's a gray half Arab quarter Welsh pony mare. Okay, why might your horse not be doing the lateral movement? We can solve that with the training scale. I mean, it's hard to tell because we don't see our horse. But if I'm trying to do a
shoulder in,
where do we start?
10 meters circle.
I was going to say rhythm.
Well, okay. I go 10-meter circle, and then you see where the problems are.
How so?
Because if you can't make a 10-meter circle, you're not going to make a shoulder in. So if you look at the circle and the horse can't keep the trot going, right, it slows down, or it falls off the line of travel. Then you go, aha.
Yes.
Because you got to go try something, and you go, okay, this is the level, because at this point, the horse can't do more than this, so we have to build here.
Yeah, and so if you think of how that is with the training scale, shoulder in is at the top. The shoulder in is an exercise that's working on straightness and collection.
Yes.
It's at the top of the pyramid.
So that's what I'm saying. So if you're going to say I can't do lateral movements, right, there are some prerequisites that need to exist.
Right. So you go through your checklist. You like rhythm and tempo. So on the 10-meter circle, if your horse is slowing down, or if your horse is like doing like funky hoppy steps, well, there's your problem.
There's the problem.
If you can't ride a 10-meter circle, then that's a lack of suppleness.
Right. If it's trotting, but it's not a 10-meter circle and there's no bend, then it's the suppleness.
Right. And that's where
if its head's flying up and it's trying to manage, then you've got connection issues. So.
But that's where I feel like I see so many riders trying to do movements when the basics aren't correct. And that's what the training scale helps you do. It helps you create a really solid foundation so that you can ride shoulder in, so that you can ride half pass, so that you can make a flying change. But if you skip those basic steps, and if you don't have rhythm, suppleness, and connection, you can't do lateral work. You can't, like, you're stuck.
Right, because then you're building your house on sand. There's no foundation.
Yeah. Okay, next question. Katie's asking, if we discover that a horse has significant weakness on one hind leg compared to the other, how should we approach strengthening and conditioning?
You ride to the weakest link. And you're not going to ride twice as much on the weak side either. It's still going to be symmetrical. It's still going to be even, but you can't do more than the weak side, and you have to get that one up to where everybody else is.
So what do you mean by that? You mean by like the size of the gait, for example, like the trot, for example?
Yes.
Because
you're not going to start asking for medium trot, say, and it's got one hind leg dragging because let's say it had an injury, right? And so the muscle is gone, right? There's some atrophy there. You have to work to the weakest link. The work can only be what that leg can do.
Yeah, and
because then it'll still do less, and the other legs will compensate by doing more, so it won't develop. Yeah. You can only do it till that leg gets fatigued, and then it's a stop. And you still do the same to both sides. You don't do extra work for that leg.
And I like to do lots of walk breaks is really good to give your horse that chance to recover and then go again. I also like to do frequent changes of direction. So particularly if you have a horse that's like really asymmetrical or crooked, I find that changing direction frequently, it helps to get your horse straighter and more even. You don't just want to go like the hard way,
right,
and drill that, because then Absolutely. It's just going to, you always want to work your horse evenly. You should go like the same amount of circles to the left as you go to the right.
Yep.
All right. This is a good question. This is like a trick question from Shawnee. Are you ready?
No, I don't like trick questions.
What is one thing you do with every single horse?
Walk. A lot.
Okay, let us know in the chat. What is one thing that you do with every single horse you ride? I would say the training scale. Like you implement the training scale on every single horse.
Yes.
Because that's what gives you, like, that's what allows you to develop communication.
But I talk to all of them too.
Is that in the training scale?
No, I just talk to my horses a lot. To all of them. She asks what I do. I talk to my horses.
Wow. It's an interesting question. Like, why
There's a lot of things that I just do. That'd be one of them. I talk to my horses during the ride while I'm working.
Interesting question. I was going to say stretching. Like, I stretch all my horses, whether they're Grand Prix horses or baby horses.
Right, but stretching's not on the training scale either.
It's part of supplement.
Sure, but there isn't a box that says stretching.
All right. Well, that was a trick question. So thank you, Shaughnessy. Deborah is asking, I imported an 11-year-old Hanoverian from Germany. He's super. We've had to zigzag, surgery, rehab, blah,
zigzag
blah, blah.
Surgery? What is zigzag surgery?
I think she means like that her journey with him has been like
the stock market, up and down.
Okay, the good foundation I'm trying to build is balance in each gait. He's super gumby flexible, yet not strong enough to hold his big movement without diving, curling, throwing, thrusting onto the forehand. I have to rebalance him every 3 to 4 strides, otherwise he dives or curls. Aren't allowed to do much lateral work yet. 7 minutes of trot. Oh yes, the lovely Rehab. Her mom's having that fun right now.
Good times
Any
for Rehab.
suggestions of what I can do?
It sounds like you're doing what you can do. It's difficult to rehab because you can't work them down. You can't just keep working an exercise and then tomorrow they're going to be calmer because they worked today. It's rehab, so there's a bit of, all right, well, that's good enough because you can't make it any better for a few months because they're rehabbing. The trick is just to stay safe and not re-injure it. That's really, rehab is mostly about that. Yeah, okay, you'd want to get a little bit more fit, but rehab is just about keeping everybody safe and getting the conditioning back up. And it's a slow process, which can be quite exciting. And so if you're getting the excitement, talk to the vet.
All right. Betty is asking, not sure it's related, but I had the worst ride ever on Friday. I was tense. I couldn't relax. I couldn't relax. Now, to be honest, I'm a bit afraid because I'm sure I've lost her confidence. I've lost my confidence. Even my trainer took me off. How do I get over myself and regain her trust?
When I was at that phase, and now I still get depressed about my riding, but it's not suicidal anymore. The trainer we were working with, and there was another girl my age, we were pretty close, and we would make jokes about jumping off the pier head first, and if we survived it, at least our hands would be broken enough that we would never be able to dream about horseback riding again.
Oh my God.
It was tough going in the beginning, and so just put it in the past. We made jokes about it, and we put it in the past, and we just started the next day new. And I don't know exactly how we got about that, but a lot of it was these jokes that we made, and we were able to put that into the past and start the next day and the next ride new, and not bring all of that to today.
Yeah. But I also think that not every day is going to be like better than the last. Like
that's
riding
the
is
ideal,
not,
that's the goal, but it isn't.
No.
It's not realistic. It's not. Learning isn't linear in any subject.
Yeah. And just like us, horses have bad days, or something has happened and they're all like wound up about who only knows what, or we've had a bad day and we're stressed and we're in a hurry. And I used to think that I couldn't get off until my horse was like, I did that a lot with Trumpet. Like I used to think I couldn't get off until he was like perfectly relaxed. And then I realized that there were days he was a hot thoroughbred. He would get so worked up, I wasn't ever going to get him to relax again. And some days I just had to be like, well, this is as good as it's going to get today, and tomorrow's another day. Because otherwise I would, work him so hard that he would get all he would probably be really sore the next day. So I think sometimes you have to just say,
it's good enough.
Right. Or just forget it. Like today was not a good day, but tomorrow's another day and I'm going to move on.
So I hope that was helpful, all those little stories.
Yeah. And go back, do some groundwork or slow it down or just work at the walk or go out on the trail or get help from your trainer. Like try to do something different if you're continuing down that road. That can also be helpful. All right. Barb is asking, she said, my lease horse is 16 and did eventing.
Sounds good.
All right. But this is a good question. So there's 2 riders for the horse. And they have different styles, strengths and weaknesses, and different things you're working on. She's been leasing him for about a year and me about 6 months. Any advice for her? That's tough.
That's right. That's just tough because the horse has got 2 riders. The wonderful thing is that horses are pretty smart and adaptable.
Yeah.
I mean, you're obviously not going to be able to get show ready in that kind of a situation, but you can get the time and the miles in the saddle. You can just get the saddle time and get the feel, and any kind of riding is better than no riding. So yes, difficult situation, but you're still riding. So there is that plus, and everything's temporary. Something else is going to happen later. So in the short term, you're still riding and getting road miles, and that's a good thing.
And, horses, that's a good point that they are really adjustable and they go the way you ride them. So we've all seen the school horses, right? And the beginner gets on and the horse won't move and is pulling the reins out of their hands. And then the trainer or whatever gets on to school the school horse.
And the horse is boom, right there.
So I think that there's always that. Certainly it's not a perfect world. In a perfect world, you have your own horse and you don't have to share, but you got to make do with what you have.
Yeah, you make do with what you have, and you're riding. So
right, and say, okay, this is a challenge. I've got to be an extra good rider, and I have to be more clear and more sharp, and I have to be able to, tell the horse this is my standard and this is what I expect, and your horse will figure it out for sure.
Yeah, horses are wonderful like that.
All right. A few questions in the chat. Alini says, "Is there anything you can do with the groundwork while you wait for a broken foot to heal?"
Your foot or the horse's foot?
I think her foot.
There's lots of groundwork you can do. It just depends on how much pain you can put up with, I guess. Then.
I don't know. Listen to your doctor.
Yeah. Because you don't really want to be putting a broken foot next to 1,400 pounds.
And short-term pain,
long-term gain.
You know, it's like if you mess up and break your foot again, then it's just not a good thing.
It's 6 to 8 weeks. Your horse isn't. You'll be fine. You'll eat and graze and have a break.
Yeah, like when I had my back surgery, Kensington had 6 weeks off, and then I worked him on the long lines for a few weeks, and he feels better than ever. So there you go.
When I had knee surgery with Q, he got 4 weeks off, and then I had to try and get on with the wrong leg, with the right leg on. Oh, that was exciting. Neither one of us.
I'm sure he loved that.
Yeah, it was bad. So then I just abandoned that and just stiff-legged it off my left leg. But anyway.
Okay, Shayla says, my off-the-track thoroughbred drops his shoulder and drifts on turns to the right lead. What are some good exercises to help strengthen it?
Diamond. Straight turn straight. Don't ride the circle, ride a diamond. Because you need to ride him from back to front. You need to connect him back front and make the turn. Because you need to connect him to that outside rein. So you're going to ride a diamond and not a circle.
Ooh, Sierra, I've been working on lateral work with my thoroughbred. I got him completely unbroke, and I've been training him for 2 years. He's a left banana. I come down the center line straight, then ask for the leg yield, and he speeds up. So I circle and then go back to attempting the leg yield. I've done the spiral circles, any other exercise to help him move off the right leg.
Leg yield back and forth.
Why does that help?
Because it helps school the half halt and get him better balance in 4 legs.
I like how you're doing the circles if he rushes, but what I like to do is, so you go like up the quarter line and you start the leg yield and your horse starts to rush. You could sometimes make, doesn't have to be a 10-meter circle, it could be a 20-meter circle, and keep leg yielding on the circle line. So that would be another thing to try, is try leg yielding on a circle.
And head to the wall leg yield.
Oh, that's another good one.
Because that way you get the wall to help the half halt.
Yeah.
So you can half halt and push him. So head to the wall leg yield.
Alrighty, everyone. Happy Thursday. I hope you all are going to be there on Sunday for our training scale webinar. It should be very fun. I have a lot of slides, and I still have work to do on the slides. So we're going to have dinner, maybe take Messi to the dog park.
And grind it and make more slides.
Yes, more educational content for all of you. So have a wonderful evening.
Sarah, like a counter shoulder in.
For the leg yield with the head to the wall?
Yeah, like counter shoulder in. You would travel left, but you'd be doing shoulder in right against the wall. Counter shoulder.